Welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the Starting Line chat line, brought to you by Starting Line Counseling. You get a free 15-minute consultation with Starting Line Counseling online at startinglinecounseling.com. We're also in the Diversified Lender Studio, Lupton Drinking Club. Already talking hoops there on the sideline. With the kissy face emoji. They're the best trash talking emojis, or at least the worst ones in my opinion, that I receive. Kissy face is in the top 3. And I shouldn't be saying this because they're going to use it now. But the winky, tongue out, goober face, that's the worst one. You're still muted there, Carson. And welcome to the show. Oh, now he's gone. He's completely gone. He hit remove. He was trying to hit unmute. He hit remove. He's going to have to go all the way back and re-enter. There he is. There he is. Left the stage completely.
That's the wrong button.
Oh, anyways. All right. We'll talk some hoops later in the show. But let's start with Patrick Mahomes heading to the Super Bowl. We missed Monday. I'm not going to tell you why. We'll call it technical difficulties. And then we come back on Wednesday. So let's get the Super Bowl talk out of the way. Is there anybody better than Patrick Mahomes?
The answer is no. I mean, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Right now, no.
No. And then I guess in the NFC, nobody's better than Brock Purdy because it's all about quarterbacks. Brock Purdy does what he does, right? Gets it done. And he actually made some plays. A lot of people say he's a bum. A lot of people say he's riding the coattails of a talented team, and I think he is. But, Mahomes did that early in his career before he kind of elevated himself and pushed his team to be as good as he is. With Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and the boys, and Travis Kelce in that offensive line early. And now the Chiefs have a really good defense, and so does the 49ers. This matchup probably leans 49ers. I know in Vegas it does. 90% of the money is already on the Chiefs. I think it's already down to a 1.5-point line. Vegas is terrified of making the Chiefs favorites. Overall thoughts on another trip for Mahomes and the game as a total. Now we'll talk about it a bunch of times before next Sunday, but what are your opening thoughts?
Obviously I think he's the better quarterback of the two. That's a given in this game. Do I think he has the better weapons of the two? No, I think that Deebo Samuel and those guys are better. Christian McCaffrey is better than Pacheco, even though Pacheco's been good this year. But I do think that the Kansas City defense is the best Steve Spagnuolo defense that we've seen that Kansas City's had in a Super Bowl lately. So that's where I think that Patrick Mahomes has a leg up this year versus what he's had in the past, because it's always been, and also the running game helps Patrick Mahomes this year as well. He doesn't have to just sling it around the park and have a good day doing that as much as he had to back in the the last few years. Now against San Francisco in the 2019 Super Bowl, the run game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire that year was really good for the Chiefs. I believe it was that year, right? It was Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the Super Bowl that year. Or who'd they have in the backfield that year? Was it
no, Damien Williams?
Steelers guy, or David Williams. Yeah, that's who it was.
Damien Williams.
Edwards-Helaire was last year. That's my bad. But yeah, I think obviously, and Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. So obviously he's the best quarterback in the Super Bowl. And they said it on the broadcast on Sunday after the game, is that Patrick Mahomes played lights out in the first half, got his team in the lead. And really just kind of cruised to the win in the second half, really, to be honest with you. And he managed the game in the second half. And that's what I think has made Patrick a better quarterback than he was in his first few years, because in his first few years, he would have tried to press so much in that second half, probably made a couple mistakes, maybe thrown a pick, but he didn't have to do that in the AFC Championship game. He just had to be steady and run the offense. Time was on their side. They tick some time off the clock, and he knew his defense was really good, and they were giving Lamar Jackson fits. Getting to him, putting pressure on him. Even when he would get outside the pocket, I felt like the defensive line was really good at pushing him up inside the pocket to where he had to run out a side, but they had that side covered for the most part. You didn't see Lamar Jackson ripping off 17 and 18-yard scrambles. So I think the defense this year is what sets the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes apart. Now, obviously, Patrick has nothing to do with the defense, but that makes him a better quarterback because he knows he can go out there, manage a game, not make the same sometimes really bad decisions that he's made in the past. And he can go and he can not make that bad decision, not throw that pick to give good field position, but throw the ball away on 3rd and long, punt the ball away, knowing that he has a really good defense on the other side. I think that makes a better quarterback on the offensive side. So I think that is something that he's had to never deal with in his life. Obviously, he never had that here at Texas Tech, and he really hasn't had that in Kansas City up until this last year. This is the best defense, as I said, that they've had since Patrick's been the starting quarterback for these last 6 years.
Well, and I think in the middle of the year, the Chiefs were really pressing offensively. No wide receivers. He's trying to throw it deep. He's trying to do everything himself, and they didn't look very good. And then late in the season, you kind of were in the playoffs at least because it didn't even happen against the Raiders in the final game of the year. In the playoffs, he's really trusted the defense and played a little bit more within himself. They got rid of Tony. Tony was complaining online after the game. Did you see this? It was
I
like
don't care what that guy says.
it was like an Instagram live, and he was mumbling incoherently, but he was like, "I'm not even hurt. Yeah, rah, 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 rah. I'm not even hurt." And then I guess Andy Reid commented on it in his press conference. But yeah, Tony's gone.
Good.
MVS making plays. He was really good against the Bills and caught the big one against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Right now, I would take the Chiefs because I don't ever bet against Patrick Mahomes as an underdog, but I don't know. In 2 weeks, if they're the favorite, I might take the 49ers as the underdog. Maybe I just take the underdog, whoever it is.
If any other coach is coaching the Detroit Lions, we're talking about Kansas City and Detroit playing in the Super Bowl because they don't make those decisions that Dan Campbell made. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't have any I don't think Dan Campbell did anything wrong or out of what he does. He was Dan Campbell the whole time.
Anybody else coaching Detroit, they're not in the NFC Championship game, though.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say, too. So you have to give Dan Campbell a lot of credit for what he did. And you can't so much if you're a Detroit fan and if you're a critic of football or whatever. And I haven't seen a lot of this because most people are like, well, Dan Campbell's just being Dan Campbell. That's what got him there. And if that's what lost in the football game, then that's what lost him the football game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the two best teams in the divisions. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Baltimore was good, but Kansas City is playing the best football. Kansas City is the best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
Very easily could have been the best team in the AFC in the regular season as well if they don't have drop passes and some things go right for them. They get a touchdown call back that won them a football game because of a silly rule. But other than that,
when you go back to the Lions game, week 1, if Kadarius Toney catches one pass.
Yeah.
And then if Kadarius Toney is not offsides, Travis Kelce makes the play of the century, and you win that one, you're the 1 seed. And you're literally 2 Kadarius Toney plays away from being the 1 seed. So it's not like you weren't a bad team.
Right.
You're a 3 seed, but you weren't a bad team. Obviously, you're in the Super Bowl now, so you can't say it anyways. But here Hyatt says sometimes you bite the kneecap, sometimes the kneecap bites you. That's true.
Yeah, and you live by the sword and you die by the sword, right? That's the common saying in sports, especially. People like to do that. but I think it's true. And I think Dan Campbell was Dan Campbell. The Lions were the Lions, and they rolled the dice and it failed. And, hats off to them for not being different or not being, cookie cutter football. I love watching Dan Campbell coach
Oh, yeah.
football. I just
Oh,
love watching it.
yeah.
And everybody's like, well, this is the Lions' only chance. It's been 50 years. The Lions are going to be fine. With Dan Campbell at the helm, I just think that the attitude, the culture of the locker room, especially in the NFL, he's changed that completely. I
They
think
believe.
that guys,
Yeah.
and they have to buy in, and if you don't buy in, then you're not there. So I don't think the Lions are going anywhere. It's always tough. Obviously, they don't have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, which makes it a little bit easier to get. Obviously, with 6 straight AFC Championship appearances and 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls that he's been to. And I think Andy Reid too. You have to give a lot of credit to Andy Reid and how he's developed Patrick Mahomes and the quarterback coaching that he's gotten from Matt Nagy the last couple of years too has been really great for Patrick Mahomes. You've seen him mature as a quarterback the last 2 years with Matt Nagy on the staff. Than you saw him in his first 4 years, and obviously that's just maturity as you come into the NFL and play more years and all that. But I think that the coaching has really helped here as well. And you've seen it with Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan puts Brock Purdy in positions where he can succeed. And in the NFL, I think that's exactly where head coaching comes to, especially with offensive-minded head coaches. And those two guys are very offensive-minded head coaches. And I think they're 2 of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL right now. So you have the 2 best coaches, 2 of the better coaches, maybe the 2 best coaches in the NFL right now in the Super Bowl, and the 2 best teams in the Super Bowl. What more could you ask for?
I'm not there on Shanahan yet, but you could probably convince me. He's been in a lot of NFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowls. So
if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt last year, they're in the Super Bowl too.
oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, that would have been the easiest path of all time, and they probably beat the Chiefs last year.
They might have, yeah.
We'll see if they can this year. All right, this from Roy, not an overreaction or anything, but I only see maybe 1 or 2 losses on the schedule this year in foosball. I don't like doing this. I don't like the day the schedule comes out, pick all the wins and losses, but we're going to do it anyways. It's what you do. I'm going to read them off. You're going to rapid fire, Carson. All right, you ready?
Fair enough.
August 31st, week 1, Abilene Christian.
Win.
September 7th at Washington State.
They don't have Ward anymore. Win.
Win. I'll say if I disagree. If not, you can just assume I'm with Carson. Versus North Texas at home.
Yeah, win. Sorry, Emo.
Arizona State at home.
Win.
4-0. Cincinnati at home.
Win.
5-0. That's 3 in a row at home, by the way.
Yeah.
October 5th at Arizona.
Loss. If Noah Fafita is the quarterback at Arizona. Put that caveat in there.
Yeah, I like starting 5-1. I'll agree there.
Yeah. Arizona's still 18 of 22 starters coming back. Now 15 of 22 starters coming back because 3 of them have entered the portal. But
Baylor at home.
Win.
6-1. At TCU.
You never play good at TCU. Loss.
I think, Cliff did. I think he did.
1 year.
2 years. They beat him twice. They didn't play good. You're right, but they beat him.
They got absolutely blown out 70-6 or 70-7 1 year too. So
84 to 20 something.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was not fun. I was at the other 2 too. That you
look. I think Arizona's a toss up. I think TCU's a toss up. But if you're saying toss up early in the year losses, I'm fine with
that.
6-2. At Iowa State.
See, this is why I don't like doing it early in the season, or this early without knowing. Give me a win in Ames. This is late in the year. Joey wins late in the year.
Yeah, no, that's November. He's really good in November.
Yeah. Joey wins late.
2 losses in November in 2 seasons. I'll take a 3rd loss there. So I'm at 6-3 years, 7.
That's fair.
Colorado at home.
Yeah, give me the win.
Win. Oklahoma State in Stillwater.
Probably a loss.
I'll take a win, so we're back even.
Is Ollie Gordon back for Oklahoma State next year?
I
Or
don't
is
care.
he done?
I don't care.
I
We're
don't
getting
know.
Alan Bowman in Stillwater. And then West Virginia at home.
It'll win. Should have won at West Virginia last year.
So 9-3. That schedule looks winnable.
Yeah, it's 3 Big 12 losses though. Is that good enough to have a chance to play in the Big 12 championship and a New Year's Six?
Here's an interesting question. If we aren't 5-0 to start, do we still have a culture problem? When did Texas Tech have a culture problem?
No, because going to Washington State, going to Pullman's going to be tough, even without Cam Ward.
Is that but what culture a road winning problem?
Yeah, early in the season culture winning. I don't know.
But what's the culture is the
know.
whole thing.
Yeah.
If we aren't 5-0 to start, it depends which one you lose. If you lose to ACU, I don't think it's a culture problem. I think you might just stink.
Personnel problem.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a culture problem to lose at Wyoming.
No, you're gonna lose. You're not gonna lose to ACU. Let's put it that way.
I mean, if you lose to Keith, Kevin Patrick, Keith Patrick, Kyle Patrick, Patterson, Keith Patterson.
Patterson. Okay, I was wondering where you're going with
I
that.
was thinking Keith Patrick.
ACU's head coach. Okay,
Like,
yeah,
that's not right.
yeah.
And I was thinking maybe it's Kevin Patrick, but that was
Keith Patterson.
coach
Yes,
that came from NC State to Texas Tech.
yeah,
No, yeah, Keith Patterson. Okay, now I'm there.
yeah.
Keith Patterson. If he beats you, maybe it's just because he puts it all into you. And then you have
Maverick McIver is the starting quarterback at
I
ACU,
don't
right?
anymore. I think he's
He's
fine.
not anymore. He's done.
Losing winnable games. Maybe I mean a mentality problem. I think you've won some winnable games too. I don't.
Yeah, and last year at Wyoming was.
My answer is no to the question. If you don't start 5-0, or do you have a problem?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Because you could absolutely lose at Washington State if something happens. Road games are hard. Should you win the other 4? Yeah. Should you win all 5? Probably. Does it set up for you to be 5-0? Yes. Does it set up for you to be 6-7-0? Maybe. I mean,
I think you can run the table at home for sure.
A lot of winnable games.
Yeah, I think you'll run the table at home. I don't know. There's a home game that you on there that you're like, oh, that's going to be a really tough one. I don't think you're going to win that one right now.
Yeah, West Virginia maybe, but again, I'll take Joey in November over Neil Brown in November.
Facts.
But to the question on the table there, I'll say this instead of saying no. Impossible to say today in January. Like, give me the circumstances, give me the anything else, give me the feel at the beginning of the season. Let me watch spring football. This is just coin flips right now, and it really does.
Oh, and a lot of things can change between now and August when you start, fall camp and all those things, and then September when you start playing football games. So, it's a long ways, but yeah, it's always fun to look at the schedule and think, hey, this thing lines up pretty well. You wish you would have missed Oklahoma State kind of in this year, because I think this is the
no.
They'll build a little bit off the success that they had last year, but
I don't want to miss them.
I'm saying if you're gonna miss them, this would probably be the year you would.
No, we don't want to. We missed them last year. We don't need to miss them again.
I don't want to miss Alan Bowman. Don't get me wrong. I would love to beat Alan Bowman, especially late in the year, in Stillwater. Or no, you get him at home. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see what you do, how the schedule works out at Arizona. Arizona's a toss-up right now for me, because that roster could completely change between now and even spring football in March or April. So
what's funny is you could win out at home, and I think, as we were talking, one of us put a loss on every road game.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Oh,
Arizona at TCU and at Iowa State are very easily
yeah.
games that you can lose.
And in Stillwater.
Yeah, and in Stillwater. So that's 4 road losses right there. You're 8-4. 8-4 still ain't bad. I'm still not mad at it, Rob.
So
Not gonna lie to you. I'm not mad at 8-4.
went out at home and win at Washington State. That's a good record.
Yeah. 8-4 next year will probably get you in the at least the Alamo Bowl talk in the Big 12, depending on how the other teams fare. But
Yeah.
an 8-win Texas Tech team is a very nice candidate for the Alamo Bowl. Especially in San Antonio, Texas Tech
Yeah.
travels so well. The
Yeah.
last time you played in the Alamo Bowl, you packed the place.
For the Pop-Tarts Bowl
Yeah, Pop-Tarts Bowl.
in Orlando. One more quick college football tidbit. The Matador Club. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. No.
They're doing a Victory in Vegas Matador Club big game experience. This is not an ad. I just thought it was cool. You can bid to experience the game like never before with tickets to the game, private jets, exclusive parties, and more, all while supporting college athletes. Here's what you get. You get 2 tickets to the game. You get round trip private jet airfare for 2. You get 3 nights at the Wynn in Las Vegas, which I believe is connected to Allegiant, right?
Yeah, it's right there by it. I don't know
Right
if it's
there. You're in
connected.
the. I mean, you're right there in walking distance. You get a bungalow private pool party at Rob Gronkowski's beach house.
Beach
Uh,
House
you
in
get it.
Las Vegas?
Well, it's at the Wynn, the beach club.
Beach Club, yeah, Encore.
And then you have exclusive table and bottle service at Sports Illustrated's The Party.
Wait, Sports Illustrated is defunct.
I guess they're still doing part. No, the magazine's defunct. They're not defunct.
Oh, the magazine's defunct. Okay.
And then access to invite-only Interscape post-game party with Snoop, Dr. Dre, and Eminem.
Sign me up.
I'm gonna just read you the what it's worth. Estimated $40,000 to get into the bottle service party. Estimated 55 grand to get into Gronk's party. Estimated 10 grand to stay in the Win for 3 nights. Estimated 30 grand for the private trip, and estimated 24 grand for the Super Bowl tickets. I guess it's a suite. And you have to bid 100 grand.
Jeez.
Uh,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm out.
but to do all that, I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Out
How
of
many
any of
bids
our listeners, I wonder if anybody's just got 100 G's sitting around.
how many bids do you think will be given?
Uh,
I
I
mean,
mean, I'm sure they'll get. I think they'll get a few. I mean, there's quite a few Texas Tech millionaires out there running around.
so nobody's bid yet.
Cody Campbell will probably start the bidding, even though his money is the Matador Club money. But someone's just got to start the bidding, then just let it run.
So this came out 3 hours ago.
That's insane. 100 G's. I can't even fathom that much money. That's how broke I am.
Not to bid it on one thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask my guy.
And the win is not connected to Allegiant. It's not even close to it. It's on the opposite side of the strip.
Oh, which one is still. That's
The win is the one that's right by the Sphere, the new U2 concert house.
is it MGM connected to the Allegiant?
MGM is across the street from Allegiant, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Mandalay Bay is across the street from Allegiant. That's what it is.
Maybe that's what it is.
Nothing's technically connected to it.
Well, but it's like a conference.
The Motel 6 is close to it. You and I could just stay there.
There you go. I'm sure that's $5 grand a night now with
at least you know it is. There were some people that I know that are 49er fans, and there was a ticket package, 2 tickets to to a party, to a game party in Vegas, but not to the actual game.
Yeah.
But 2 tickets to this party of all inclusive, drinks, eats. You get 2 nights stay at the hotel. I think it's at the Mandalay Bay. Like 20 grand a pop. But you don't even go to the game. You're just watching the game on TV at a bar with a bunch of 49er fans. Like, can't you do that anywhere? Like in San Francisco for a lot cheaper? What's the point? But people are going to pay for it. People will pay for it. Capitalism, Rob. Gotta love it.
I mean, generally, if you just want a room in Vegas, it's pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've gotten rooms in Vegas for $58 a night sometimes. You just got to be smart about it. And if you go there enough, like my degenerate brother did back in the day, you get them for free.
Super Bowl weekend, you can stay at the Excalibur for $100 a night.
Yeah. You get bed bugs that weekend too.
Hilton, 166. New York.
You ever been to the Excalibur?
No, we stayed at the Flamingo.
Yeah, Flamingo's good.
$200 a night at the Flamingo now.
That ain't bad. That's actually shocking that they're $200 a night. Now, the closer you get, the more expensive it'll get because the more rooms they'll book up. But
I'm sure it's already pretty well booked. All right. What else were we talking about? Oh, basketball. Let's talk about a little basketball.
A little Big 12 basketball.
All right, you lose last night. Of course, you weren't going to win them all. You're not going to win them all on the road. We talked about it last week. Win one of the next 2 on the road. And I said it was more likely to beat Oklahoma than TCU. I think that bared out. Chance McMillan went crazy in Norman. Nobody really went crazy for you in Fort Worth.
Pop had 25. I mean, he played really well. Chance had 19.
Yeah, that's just pop. Pop's being pop.
Yeah, Pop's being Pop. Chance being Chance at this point.
Pop averages 20 in Big 12 play. I think that's just a normal Pop game. Joe Toussaint, 7 assists, 7 turnovers.
Yeah, he was bad for a while there.
And then you have 14 second chance points for TCU and 0 for Texas Tech. Talk about losing winnable games. You're up 10. They go on a 21-3 run and never really look back. You kind of close out a couple of times there in the second half, but you never really got going. Because Micah freaking Peavy doubles his all-time high in 2 3-pointers in a game with 4. He'd had 2 before. I don't think he missed one. And otherwise, everyone else was making threes. I think they were 58% from 3.
Yeah, McCaslin said that in the post game is that anytime a team shoots it that well from the field and from 3, you're going to have a tough time winning a basketball game. Like that's just and whenever you turn the ball over and you don't take care of the basketball like Texas Tech didn't do last night, you're not going to, especially on the road in this conference, it's not going to bode well for you. And I said this, I think I said it last week, or I might have just been thinking it last night, is that Texas Tech and TCU, the matchup that TCU gives to Texas Tech, a lot like kind of what Baylor has given you fits with the last few years. Now you've been able to beat Baylor a couple times, but the length in the athleticism of TCU, I think, is a mismatch for Texas Tech because you don't have the length that TCU has. Especially, and that's why they created so many turnovers. The arm reach, the length that they have on the defensive side, it kind of collapses the floor a little bit and makes it a lot smaller.
Bad matchup.
And I think, the matchup is not great for Texas Tech with TCU. So, and I think we talked about that a little bit last week coming into it, is that TCU is the harder of the 2 road matchups that you're going to have. At Norman was winnable. At TCU, you didn't know if you would be able to handle the road matchup at TCU. Oklahoma couldn't handle it at TCU either. And Oklahoma kind of had the same thing happen that Texas Tech did. They got up big, and then TCU came back and won the basketball game at TCU. So, and TCU is good at home. TCU is a good basketball team, period. They're very well coached. Jamie Dixon is a great coach, one of the better head coaches that we've seen in the college game for over the last 20 plus years, starting at Pitt.
Now, let's get it straight. He's a doofus. He's a bum. He's a
Yeah.
moron. He puts his feet on the floor too much. But, yeah, he's a good coach. He is a good coach.
Yeah, I'm not saying I like the guy. I'm just saying he's a great basketball coach.
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't have to like him.
Yeah.
I don't really like Rick Pitino, but I think he's a really good basketball coach. I don't like what's his face at Kentucky, but I think he's a good basketball coach. You know, it just is what it is. Like you said, you're not going to win them all, and you can't expect to win them all. But you love that you fought in that game, and you didn't just go on the road and lay down too whenever they went on that 21-3 run. You had some fight in you. You gave it everything you had in the second half. It just wasn't enough. It was, it's one of those games where you knew it was going to be tough. You knew you're going to have to be probably, 20 points better than TCU was, and they couldn't shoot it very well, and they did. They shot it really well, and they won the basketball game. And so what? You're a 2-loss Big 12 team. You're still at the top of the league, and you feel pretty good with where you're at. I think any Texas Tech basketball fan that doesn't feel good with where they're at right now, even after a loss, you feel pretty daggum good at where you're at coming into the Big 12 slate. I did not see this being where you would be this late, almost halfway through the Big 12 slate.
Does the Saddle exchange every game between TCU and Tech? No, just football games. Just football games.
Yeah, it doesn't exchange in basketball and baseball.
Lupton Drinking Club says Pop was the best player on the floor. Yeah. Him or Micah Peavy.
Yeah.
Or Tennessee.
Tennyson was good.
Tennyson.
Yeah.
And
Jameer Nelson Jr. has been a real game changer for them off the bench.
Yeah.
Jameer Nelson, he knocked down big shots early in the week, especially in the 3 overtime game at Baylor. I thought he was great in the 3 overtime game at Baylor.
Yeah.
And he's what helped TCU, come away from that. So
a little bit like Chance McMillan in the last.
Yeah. And Chance McMillan has been great the last few weeks, right? Chance McMillan, we talked about it early in Big 12 play where he came off the bench and had a great night. It's, if he can be your Brandon Francis kind of guy, if he can average in double figures off the bench, and give you a boost whenever, your top 5 guys go out, then I think that's what you need. And Chance McMillan has brought that boost over the last few weeks. I think he's been really good. He's been a really bright spot on this basketball team whenever you're kind of looking for that 6th man to kind of raise his head up and say, I'm that guy. Chance McMillan has been that guy lately, and he single-handedly won you the basketball game in Norman. He really did. He was the guy that won you the basketball game in Norman. Point blank, period. Chance McMillan won you the game in Norman, which is huge. That's a big road win.
Yeah.
Against I don't think they're an 11th best team in the country, but they were ranked number 11 at the time. And so that to me in Norman is a great win. And it's not a bad loss at TCU. TCU, I said it all along.
Lost.
They've been a top 25 team, even when they're not ranked in the top 25. They're a top 25 basketball team in the country. They're one of the better teams in the Big 12.
Yeah. For my money, OU and TCU should be ranked in the rankings, switched in the rankings.
I agree. I
think TCU is a top 15 team.
I agree.
And
completely agree.
I think Texas Tech's still a top 20 team. I don't know if they'll be top 15 when we get there, but
yeah, we'll see how Saturday goes against Cincinnati. But
yeah, I think Cincinnati's a huge game. We'll talk about it Friday. Actually, I don't know if we will. I'll be at a wrestling tournament. Let's preview Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
Cincinnati has won a couple games in the Big 12. They're not winless, but they have not started hot in Big 12 play per se. And road games are really tough in the Big 12. I think Texas Tech has to hold serve at home against Cincinnati, yes?
Yeah, you got to hold serve at home against Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati has shown they've gone on the road. They went to Hilton Coliseum and won, not at Hilton Coliseum, at the Marriott Center in Provo and won against BYU the first week of Big 12 play, beat a very talented BYU team on the road. So Cincinnati has shown they can go on the road and win in the Big 12. Now, obviously, BYU is a new member of the Big 12, so they're not like quite there yet as far as what Big 12 atmosphere really is. But 19,000 people can sit in the Marriott Center. It's a great atmosphere when it's packed full of people. So that's a good win for Cincinnati. They've kind of been all over the map. They're a good team as far as they're fundamentally sound, especially on the defensive end. And Lupton said it. I was just about to say they're good in the paint. They've got good bigs. They score in the paint. That's where their game is. They're kind of like Oklahoma in that sense, where if they have to really rely on the three ball, they're not great. And so if you can make them have to catch and shoot from the outside with guys running in their face and hands in shooters' faces, that's going to be a tough day for Cincinnati. But if you allow them to score in the paint like you did with TCU last night, then not going to be good.
Cincinnati beat BYU by 11.
Yeah.
None of their other Big 12 games have been larger than 5 points.
Yeah. I mean, they went to Baylor and should have won at Baylor.
Yeah.
Lost by what, 3?
Lost by
I can't pull that.
I'm going to go in the order. Lost by 1 in Austin.
Yep.
That was in Cincinnati. 2 Texas. Lost 3 in Waco. Lost by 3 in Waco. Beat TCU by 4 in Cincinnati.
It's a good win.
Lost to Oklahoma by 4. Lost to Kansas by 5 in Lawrence. And then UCF is the only other game they won, but that was the only other game not within 5.
Yeah, and they beat UCF by 11.
They've played a bunch of close games.
Yeah.
You look at Baylor, you look at TCU, you look at Villanova as teams on Texas Tech schedule that are long, athletic, dangerous teams. Bad matchups. Maybe it's time to put Cincinnati in there as kind of a bad matchup for Texas Tech. I don't know if that's the case. I think Oklahoma had really good bigs, and you handled them well because they didn't shoot as well from deep. If Cincinnati can do both, obviously they're going to play good and win. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. Hey, if you rebound well and you shoot well and you score in the paint well and you defend well and you don't turn the ball, that's how you win games. Of course. So, and on one hand, there's all those things you can say about it. But on the other hand, if Cincinnati's good in the paint, well, Warren Washington can go for 19-9 again, like he did against a team that's good in the paint, and you can win. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their tall guy, the Russian, the big Russian. He's 7 foot 6'11". Victor Lakin. I don't know how you say his last name, but he's not bad. I think he averages in double figures every game in the paint too. Every single one of those. He averages about 8 rebounds a game. So it'll be a tough matchup for Warren Washington for sure, because it'll be a guy that's his size. I think Warren is a little more athletic than this guy, but we'll see. And if Warren Washington gets in foul trouble, then they might have their way with you down low, because I don't know if Robert Jennings is good enough right now to handle all of that down low. But
Lakin's the leading scorer and the leading rebounder, and he averages 12 and 7.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's, electric.
Bendogo averages 8.3 rebounds a game, but
12 and 7. Well, I just have this here. This is what ESPN says he's the leading rebounder.
Yeah, your 2 big guys, a 7-footer from Senegal and a 7-footer from Russia. They've got 2 7-footers.
Interesting. You do not.
No.
Pop
7 foot.
Pop Isaacs says on this is averaging 17.4. I think he's averaging 19 point something in Big 12 play.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with that 25 last night, he may be averaging over 20 now in Big 12 play. So I think he's only had one game where he hasn't scored over 20, right?
It could be. We can find out. Big 12 conference.
Ryan Bradley says on the chat line, overreaction, should have let RJ move on this offseason. I mean, I'm glad you didn't because you have another big man that you can go to. He just didn't develop like I thought he would, to be honest with you. You could have found another season big in the portal that would have helped the depth issues. Yeah, you could have. But a lot of those season bigs aren't going to come in with a guy like Warren Washington who'd already committed and have to compete with him because they know. And obviously, you had Cambridge on the roster too. You can't forget about that. So those two guys, I think, would have inhibited. And you got to remember too, with Cambridge here, Robert Jennings probably isn't playing a whole lot. So the Cambridge injury was huge in the fact that Robert Jennings has had to step up and play some minutes for you here in Big 12 play, especially. And we talked about that whenever Cambridge went down, is that you're going to have Robert Jennings playing Big 12 play because Warren Washington can't just hold the load up the whole time in league play. But yeah, that's where the Cambridge injury really hurts you, is in that regard, especially with the bigs in the Big 12. Now, Warren Washington's held his own.
I think Robert Jennings has struggled, but I think he's flashed as well. I think he's had some good moments. He was really, really bad against Oklahoma in the first half, but I think he wasn't. He's flashed a little bit. I think, how bad is Kyron Lindsey in practice that he's not got on the floor is another conversation we could have. Pop Isaacs averaging 20.3.
Yeah. So last night did put him over the 20-point mark.
Trivia time. Give me the rest of the top 5. You ready?
In Big 12 play?
Yeah. Conference play only, leading scorers.
Kevin McCullough is on that list, probably.
Yeah, he's third.
Yeah.
Which is just
Max Asmus.
Number 4. Got a Kansas guy and a TCU guy in the top 5.
A TCU guy. Alan Corbin said Hunter Dickinson.
Hunter Dickinson, too.
Yeah. And then who would the TCU guy be?
Not Tennyson. He's 9.
Not Tennyson. That's who my guess was going to be. But I've watched him play.
He wasn't electric last night, but he's been really good in Big 12 play. Miller.
Yeah, I don't know.
Miller.
Oh, Miller. Oh.
Yeah.
What's he averaging a game in Big 12 play?
I just clicked on. No, I didn't. Let's see. 17.3.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then once you get down to,
he played really good against Oklahoma at home. I know that.
Once you get down to 8, it's 14.5. So
wow.
There's a really thin margin. Jamal Shed at 16.3.
See, he was another name I would have said if you wouldn't have told me it was Kansas and TCU left on the roster.
Pop Isaacs is the only player averaging 20, at least 20.
So Pop Isaacs is number 1 in the conference in terms of points per game.
If you finish top 3 in conference play, Pop Isaacs is playing well enough to be player of the year.
Yeah, Big 12 player of the year, yeah.
I don't think he would get it because of
optics,
off-court issues, yeah.
Yeah. And he's not a senior, and a lot of the time we've seen the Big 12 powers that be give that to guys like the Kevin McCullers of the world who have stuck around for 5-6 years.
Kevin McCullough is going to be player of the year this year because of his defense.
And they give it to those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% season into today, Kevin McCullough
Big 12
player there. That would be so frustrating too. All right. Let's see. I just found a post from January 31st, 2020. Carson.
Okay.
Can't
wait to hear this.
Before the world ended, 4 short years ago, Patrick Mahomes was in his first Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Yeah.
You and I were on the radio a few short months before we were canceled. And we did a bunch of interviews. I'm going to read the names of the interviews we did because
we did a lot.
I remember a bunch of these guys. Phil Sklar from the Bobblehead Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Josh Applebaum, who worked with VSiN, Joe Fortenbaugh, San Francisco guy, Jeff Turn from Sioux
Yep.
Falls, that was in Miami, Al Wallace. I do not remember who Al Wallace is.
Mm-mm.
Former NFL GM Michael Lombardi.
Yep. We talked to him. He's been on ESPN all the time now.
He's on Pat McAfee all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Chief Radio Network Dan Israel.
Yep.
Big fan of Dan Israel.
Yep. Big Dan guy.
Matt Humans from VSiN. The head odds maker from Bovada, Pat Morrow.
Yeah, we always had Pat on every week, though.
Farzine Vasugian, the Chiefs Zone podcast guy.
He was great. He was a great interview. Remember, he had a lot of knowledge on that one. That was a fun interview.
Another interview with Dan Israel. I guess some of these were Hyatt's interviews. And then Mike Gill live from Radio Row in Miami. So there we go. 2020.
Yeah. That was a fun season right there for us.
Yeah, it was. It was
right before we got shut down.
It's a strong finish too.
It was. We were just hitting our stride in 2020.
We really were, and then the world came to an end. I remember
when the world came to an end, and so did the
live,
in-studio version of the Rob Rowe Show.
We were live on air when Texas and Texas Tech left the court.
Yep.
And the season ended.
We were actually supposed to, you and I think we were supposed to go play-by-play in color and NCAA Division II regional that day, and that got canceled as well that same day. Yeah, crazy. All right, everything changed. We lost our boy Tuck.
We almost didn't.
Best producer in the land.
Yeah. Long live Tucker Lawrence.
That's right. But we still got the hats, so we'll never forget.
That's right.
Still got this bad boy. We'll never forget. I got the other one up there. To go with my P-Dogs hat. I found this laying around. Look at that bad boy. Yeah.
Oh, nice. The Amarillo gold.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
From back in the playing days. I found that the other day. I was like, it might as well go up on the shelf.
Yeah, Tech baseball, man. That was tough.
Yeah, right. Ryan Bradley said the proposed number 1 overall seed. Dayton was really good that year.
Obi Toppin.
Yeah, was really good. Dayton was really good. And that was I think Texas Tech was just hitting their stride too. And Brandon Francis's last year on campus, and you were a tournament team. You're going to be a tournament team. Got in the tournament after playing well towards the end of the season. So yeah, that was a tough time for all of us, right? When sports ended and we had no idea what to do because our lives have evolved around sports.
We were doing marble races on YouTube, betting on marble races and everything else there for a while.
Yeah, because our show lasted for another week or so after.
Yeah, Korean baseball was still playing.
Yeah, that's right. They were still playing in the KBL.
Everyone was a KBL fan for 2020.
Yeah, I think we were getting odds on KBL games and voting on that on the Winter Factory.
No, that was post cancellation.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
No, I was on the other show. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland.
Yep, that's right. Y'all were doing anything you possibly could.
But really, at that time, I was in a post world. I was doing the Chad Hasty show. That was big Korean.
Yeah, you're getting into politics.
Talking COVID every day, and then doing Korean baseball. Okay, that's we're going off the rails here.
Uzbekistan had soccer going. Get you some Uzbek soccer at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Then go to Korean baseball at 4 a.m.
Oh, we weren't doing anything else. You could stay up all night.
True. It's good. Yeah. You didn't have any work to get done the next day.
I mean, I still did. I was, what'd they call it? What's the word they used?
Indisposable?
It was something like that.
Important? I don't know.
It was something.
Frontline work? I don't know. No, frontline would be
no, I wasn't frontline. No, I was back line.
You're the fifth line on a hockey team that gets in whenever the game's out of whack and the goalie's been pulled. Essential. There you go. Thanks, Alan Corbin. We can always count on Alan Corbin to help us out on the words. His mom was a great teacher.
All right.
She's my fifth grade teacher.
I gotta go to Vernon, Texas, man.
Oof.
Vernon, Texas. I gotta go.
Little wrestling match.
Yeah, we're doing the district wrestling for senior year. Keegan Davis.
Nice.
Keegan's
got a chance to win state this year. Yeah.
Surpassed 100 wins in a career this
Nice.
year. I think he's setting the record for Lubbock High of wins all time.
That's all. And for those that don't know, this is Rob's nephew, and he is a Banff on the mat on the wrestling floor.
He's a badass. He is.
Good offensive and defensive lineman too. Just didn't have a whole lot of greatness around him.
Yeah, well, sometimes you go as far as the team does.
And they didn't go very far. As Spike Dykes used to say, it's going to be a very long but not very extended season.
Yeah.
I think that was Jack Dell quote. Hyatt, if he's still listening, can probably say which one that was.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Man,
that's all I got.
My voice is on a thread here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get some throat coat before y'all record tonight.
Get some tea. Well, I'll be on the road. Yeah,
we'll see. Oh yeah, you'll be on the road. Yeah,
trying to get Kyle and Ryan to do it without me, but I think they're gonna wait for me.
Nobody can do it without you, Rob. You're the glue.
They can. I trust them. All right.
We'll see you Monday.
We'll see you Monday.
Peace.